Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
Get started. My name is Sophia, and I work in the College of Graduate Studies. And part of my job is to first and foremost assist students with thesis and dissertation. As you submit that document that you've worked really hard on, maybe you've poured blood, sweat, and tears into it. Our job is to make sure that it looks perfect before it goes off to publishing. I also have some other amazing people on this workshop call today, so I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Bocanegra. I also work in the College of Graduate Studies. I'm the Audit and Compliance Coordinator. So I do assist with making sure that we have all the documents needed and reviewing your degree plan, things like that. And I do play a part also in the dissertation and thesis submission and review. So nice to see everybody.
Hey, everybody. My name is Alexa Height. I am in the library. I am the scholarly communication and copyright librarian. And so in terms of electronic theses and dissertations, I'm here to support you in terms of choosing which copyright license or paying for copyright and open access. And we will get to that later. And then after you're all done and you've sent it off and you're finished with it, I work with the College of Graduate Studies to make sure that it is available online for people to read.
Yes, absolutely. So we're very excited that you're here to join us. Excuse me if I pause while I'm speaking. There's people coming up being admitted, so I'm trying to multitask, which is not always my strong suit. So if I pause, it's because I'm looking at the screen as people are popping up. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited that you're here. And I know that when you get to this point of thesis and dissertation, it could seem overwhelming because, like I said earlier, you've worked really hard to get to this point. And I know a lot of students, when you get to this point, you're done, you're over it. And we want to make sure that you cross that final hump, that final bridge to get to the very, very end. Because when you walk the stage, that's great, you get your diploma, but that's not the end. We really have to make sure that this document is polished and perfect. And that's really what we're here to help you with. So some of the things we're going to go over today, we're going to talk a little bit about important dates and announcements, checklist items, which are super important when you approach graduation. The star of the show is formatting templates. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Also copyright and open access, that's super important as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about some ways to navigate our website to make this journey a little bit smoother for you, so you can kind of use our website as a tool to kind of help you move through this process. And we're going to do questions at the end, but if you have questions along the way, you don't have to wait till the end. Feel free to unmute yourself, ask questions, type them in the chat. I'll do my best to see them, and I'm sure Alexa and Amanda, if you see them, you just shout them. But we're here to answer those questions while you're here today with us as well.
All right, so first thing we'll go over are some important dates. We do have these on our website for both the spring, which is up now. So if you are graduating this spring 22, these would be the deadlines for our students who are on pursuing master's programs, thesis track specifically. And so this again will be for the spring. There's a couple of dates coming up in April. And actually, March 1st, that's today. That's our dissertation and thesis formatting workshop. But April looks like actually 13th, we'll have another workshop. But April 18th is going to be our last day to submit Form B, which is the agreement. It's a form that says, hey, I'm ready to schedule my thesis defense, which this form has to be submitted at least 5 days prior to your actual defense. Last day to defend would be April 22nd. And then there's going to be a report due, and then your actual thesis is going to be due by May 6th. And so we have this all here on our website. Just wanted to hit those dates real quick. And we also have, Yeah, we also have our summer dates out. We do try and plan a year out. So we'll be getting next year's pretty soon already. But we do have our summer dates. Summer goes by pretty quick, in 10 weeks. So if you're have any questions about, hey, I'm graduating soon, summer, we do have those up on our website as well. Now moving into our doctoral dates, they are going to be different than our master's, just because there's a little bit more involved in the doctoral as far as forms required. We'll go into checklists next, but we do have important doctoral dates. They are a little bit earlier as well, because the dissertation is typically quite a bit longer than the thesis when it comes time to review. So please look those over. These again are for the spring. And on the next slide, we have our summer, or this slide, we have our summer dates, our summer deadlines. Any questions about deadlines? I don't see any.
Okay, awesome.
So we do have checklists for each program, or it's not each program, each level. So we have a master's checklist and we have a doctoral checklist. Doctoral is going to be quite a bit more forms. We do have the ones that are required listed here, form A through D, semester prior to graduating, forms E through G, filed during the graduating semester. I know we have them also, we just have them labeled A, B, C, D. There are much longer titles, but we have those listed on our website. We have those spelled out on our checklist as well. And so don't ever feel like you have to memorize anything, or, we're just going to say form A. We can point you to our website. At the conclusion, we'll share the links, and you'll be able to go download them at any time, review them. But with the doctoral checklist, there's quite a bit of forms. We do require a final version of your dissertation uploaded to ProQuest. We went over that data in the previous slides. There is a due date for your dissertation or your thesis to be submitted. For our doctoral students, we do require a survey of earned doctorates. It's we have that survey linked on our website, as well as a dissertation service fee of $100. For our master's students, it's usually we require a degree plan on file, forms A, B, and C, and then a final version of your thesis uploaded to ProQuest as well by a certain date. There's a bunch of forms in between all that. Some students may take a leave of absence. Some students may need to adjust their thesis or doctoral committees. Anytime you have questions, y'all are always welcome to reach out. Or if you're wondering, hey, which forms do I still need, or which forms have I submitted? You can always reach out to our office. We'll provide our contact info later, and we can double check, or I can double check which forms we have on file, what's still needed, or answer any questions about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to let everyone know this is being recorded, and this PowerPoint will also be shared. So these are all clickable links. So you'll have access to this PowerPoint with the clickable links and access to this recording too. So don't feel like you have to take down all the notes, and we'll make sure that we get you all this information when the presentation is over. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about formatting now, and it's really important that we go over some of the do's, the don'ts. I'll show you what our templates look like, and again, if you have questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask, unmute yourself, type it in the chat, things like that. So some general formatting guidelines. Well, first and foremost, all submissions go through ProQuest. So you can't email your thesis or dissertation to our office or to the library or anything like that. That's not the official way to submit. You have to go through ProQuest. Some preliminary things are everything has to have 1-inch margins. And we say this because when we send your document off to ProQuest to get printed and published, anything that falls outside the 1-inch margins will get cut off. So if you have really beautiful tables or charts, graphs, and they extend past the 1-inch margins and you don't catch it and we don't catch it, that beautiful work of art will get cut off, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, we want everything to look really uniform. So we want 12-point font across the board, Times New Roman. So sometimes we'll get, titles that are in these really pretty fonts and different sizes. We want to make sure everything looks uniform. So 12-point Times New Roman. And we'll talk a little bit more about like titles and caps and things like that. But just some general things to keep in mind as we move through the templates and formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the traditional thesis template here. So on our website, we have a dissertation and thesis formatting guideline page. And on this page, you'll learn a little bit about how your document has to adhere to academic and institutional standards and whatnot. You can read a little bit about that at the top of the page here. You'll see some information on general formatting, but then you're going to click here where it says templates, and you'll find our full thesis template and our full traditional dissertation template. So I'm going to click on the thesis template first. Can y'all see this? Yes, okay, just want to make sure I'm not. Okay, so here we are. This is our full, this is our traditional thesis template. So when you,
sorry, Sophia, I think we're still seeing your PowerPoint. I don't know if you're in a different application.
I am. I'm just going to share desktop. I thought I did that before. My bad.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, can you see the Word document now? Okay, yes. It's been a long day. The technology thing is just not it for me after 5 p.m. sometimes. Okay, here we are in Microsoft Word. So this is our full traditional thesis template. So really where we see the most common mistakes are going to be in like the first preliminary pages. So our title page, the copyright page, and the abstracts and the committee member page, all those things. That's traditionally where we see the most issues with the formatting. So I'm going to go through some common errors that we see, maybe show you really, if it looks like the template, there really won't be any issues. I know that's way easier said than done. When you start putting things into the template, there are always going to be issues. I've done this for 2.5 years now, and I've never had someone submit a perfect document right off the bat. So don't expect that of yourself. There are going to be issues as we move through the process, and that's totally normal. But these are just some things that we see every day that hopefully you'll keep in mind as you are completing your template and working through your thesis or dissertation. So all titles are going to be in caps, and they're going to be up here at the top. So if the title of your thesis was I like writing workshops, then it's I like writing workshops is going to be in all caps. Oh no, I hope not. Can you guys still see me? Okay, I don't know why I don't know if you can see the warning.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a time lag, but I think we're all caught up.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. So then you're going to see a thesis by. Your name is going to be in all caps. Okay. And then down here, we're going to see you're going to put your bachelor's degree, just the university name and the year. Okay. So you got a BS from Texas School of Law in 2012. Okay. That's what it would be. You wouldn't put your degree title or anything like that. Okay. Down here, you're going to move into your degree name in all caps and your program name in all caps. Okay, so really if you follow the template, if you kind of just look where the prompts are, those should help you complete those steps. But if you have questions about what to put where, definitely don't hesitate to ask. Okay, and one of the most common mistakes is when students do this last part down here at the bottom, it's going to be the month and year of graduation. So you may be submitting your thesis or dissertation in April, but you're graduating in May. You're going to put May 2020 instead of April. Okay, so it's going to be the month and year that you graduate. Okay, we'll move down here to our copyright page. So again, you're just going to put in your name and the month and year of graduation. And then we have our committee member page, and this is set up similar to the title page. Again, just really taking note of what things are in all caps, like the title of your document and your name. And then down here, you're going to see your committee members. Okay, they need to be in this type of format, and they need to be kind of set up this way. This keeps it clean and uniform, and there is like a box here that kind of helps you keep it in that format. And if you have issues with that type of format, you can definitely let us know. Okay, and then we move into your abstract. So obviously these are going to be content's going to be different for everyone, but just keep in mind you're going to want to follow whatever your discipline follows as far as content and things like that. And this is actually where page starts, like page numbers. So your abstract is going to start on page IV down here at the bottom. Okay, so 4 in Roman numerals. So I know that seems strange, but ProQuest actually slips in a page before. So in the end, it all works out. Or they slip in a page at the end. Sorry, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it used to be 5, but okay. So you're going to start numbering right here at 4. Okay, on the abstract. So anything before that will not have page numbers on it. Okay, we're going to go into the dedication and acknowledgements, and then the table of contents. And this part is probably the most complicated and probably one of the hardest parts for students, because Microsoft Word is not always the friendliest. And so updating the table of contents can be a little frustrating. I don't have all the tips and tricks, but I do a lot of Googling. So if you run across any formatting issues, I'm happy to help Google or give you tips and tricks that maybe I've learned throughout the process. But you'll note that some of the things here are in all caps. So everything like abstract, dedication, acknowledgement, all those preliminary pages are going to be listed here in all caps. Okay, and then you'll start to see the content of your work. List of figures if needed, and list of tables. After this is when we get into, I guess, the meat of your thesis or dissertation with chapters, figures, and whatnot. Okay, so before you start like copying and pasting, definitely look at the template and look at the things that might stand out to you, like where things are supposed to be in all caps, headings and subheadings and things like that. Okay, are there any questions about this template? And when I go to the dissertation template, it's going to look very similar, so I'm not going to spend so much time on that, but that's just to give you an idea of that. Any questions on that? No? Okay. Then when we go back here, you'll see we have some different dissertation templates. Some of them are specific to programs, so I'm really just going to go over the traditional dissertation template quickly. Can we see this one now? I just want to make sure I'm sharing my screen properly. Can you see that? Okay, perfect. So same preliminary pages. You'll see some things a little different. Instead of a thesis, it'll be a dissertation. Here you'll list both bachelor's and master's degrees in the same format. Okay, same here. And as we move through, these are going to be very similar, just a couple of different wordings because it's a different kind of document. And you'll see there's more here on the committee member page. Okay, and so some things to note on the dissertation and thesis template, you're going to see some extra spacing in certain places. So in the preliminary pages, on the abstract, dedication, and acknowledgement pages, you're going to see some extra spacing between the title and the content. So those are things that we're looking for. So these are just things to keep in mind as you start filling out, completing your document and starting to format it in this particular way. Okay. And these, as we scroll down, these are going to be pretty much the same as the thesis template. Okay. Are there any questions on templates? I know it can be a little more complicated than that, especially if you're working with charts and graphs and whatnot, but that's just kind of the general formatting, the templates that we give our students to utilize. Are there any questions on that? No? Okay. So like I said, one of the common mistakes that we see is students, some of their work falls outside of the 1-inch margins, and I do my very best to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I try to scroll through every single page and check the margins on pages to make sure that things don't fall out. But we have had a couple of students get sent to ProQuest for publishing, and we get their stuff back, and as we flip through to make sure that we didn't miss anything, some of their beautiful graphics and charts and whatnot kind of get cut off, and we really don't want that to happen. So I put in a couple of ways that you can actually check your margins while you're going through your document. So this is definitely encouraged as you move through your document. So if you are in Microsoft Word, you're going to go to the View tab and click the View tab, and you're going to check ruler and grid lines. Okay, and in doing this, it should pop up this grid here on your paper. And you can see here that in this specific, figure, it's going to fall off on the right-hand side. So anything outside this grid line is going to get cut off during publishing. Okay, so this is just one example of how things can get cut off. And so if you pull up these grid lines as you're kind of maybe scrolling through your document, this gives you a good idea of what maybe needs to shift. And then that can also shift your page number. So it's really important to kind of just do this as you move through the document and insert any kind of like tables or figures or anything like that. Now, if you have a PDF document and you want to check your margins, you'll go to the View tab, you'll scroll down to Show/Hide, and then you'll scroll down to Rulers and Grids, and then you'll check the ruler off. And then it's going to pop up this ruler in the top. You're going to double click where it's at that 1 inch margin there. And it's actually going to snap a blue line. And that blue line will show you exactly where the 1 inch margin is, and anything to the right of it or to the left of it that falls outside is going to get cut off. Okay, so this is if you have your PDF document, this is a good way to check those margins after you have maybe converted it. Yes, if you have large figures, you definitely can insert them in landscape, but it's just important that they all stay within the 1 inch margins no matter what. And if you have questions about that, if you want to submit like a sample of it, what it looks like, I'm happy to look it over as well. It's a great question. Are there any other questions? This is just something that you can do that will kind of save you in the long run if you're checking your margins along the way. After you submit it, if I come back and I'm like on page 8, 9, 11, 12, you know, all these pages, there's all these figures that fall outside the 1 inch margins. If you start fixing those figures, it could shift your pages, which could shift where, you know, other things fall. And then that's a whole nother thing in and of itself. So if we check margins along the way, there could be less errors later on. So just some tips and tricks to get that going. Okay, so again, just some common errors, signature lines on the committee page. We don't require that. I know sometimes when you have a proposal, you get signatures. We don't want signatures on the committee page or signature lines. Okay, we see a lot of varying font sizes. We're looking for 12-point Times New Roman, different 1 inch margins, and then 1.5 inch margins. Everything's going to be 1 inch margins. Again, we talked about page numbering starts on the abstract, and then again, things extending beyond that could potentially get cut off. Okay, so you've finished your document, you're ready to submit. That's super exciting. We're excited for you. You're going to submit on ProQuest. So in ProQuest, you go ahead and you create an account. And ProQuest is actually pretty awesome. It's going to walk you through creating an account. It's going to prompt you to answer all of these questions. I don't suggest if you only have 5 minutes to set up an account that you sit down and try to complete it in 5 minutes. It's definitely something where you want to have at least 30 minutes to sit down, answer the questions, and make sure that you give us the right information, like you're providing us with an accurate email address, and you're giving us you know, your first and last name spelled correctly. So these are just things that we've seen happen before. So definitely take the time to sit down and complete the ProQuest account. Give yourself some time. Okay. And yeah, it's really awesome. Once you log in, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all these sections that you have to complete. The moment you've completed that section, it's going to give you a green check mark and help you move through the rest of it. Okay. And that's all I have to say about ProQuest for now. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to talk a little bit about binding.
And so we will require that your work, thesis and dissertation, we get at least one binded copy, and that is handled through ProQuest. And so when you submit and you are, we'll go through it and we'll make sure, of course, that it's ready for submission. It will be handled through ProQuest, the binding part. Again, we require at least one copy for the library, but you're also welcome to get a copy for yourself. The department may require a copy for their department. So always check, I'd say, with your chair, with your thesis chair, your committee chair, or your doctoral chair. And they'll let you know if you need to get a department copy. We'll talk a little bit about costs on the next slide, but just so you know, color graphics are included in the digital copy of the thesis. And so, and this will also, and so anything in your binding, anything in your binded work will also be reproduced in color. It can take approximately 8 to 12 weeks for this binded copy to be shipped. And that's after we submit for approval. So we usually do that a couple weeks after graduation, just because we do have a little bit of time to finalize the thesis and dissertations and make sure everything's perfect before we submit for printing. So even though you graduate, it can still be maybe a week or two later by the time we submit, maybe a little bit more, and then it'll be 8 to 12 weeks. So keep those timelines in mind. As far as costs, we do have some of the costs listed here. I know I mentioned the dissertation service charge, and that you're able to pay online. You actually submit a copy to our office as well to Grad College. We'll have the directions on our website. The dissertation service charge is only going to be for our doctoral students, so just keep that in mind. It looks like the distribution copy, so it's about $48 that you paid during the ProQuest submission, and then there might be additional costs, and I think we have that on the next slide as well. Additional costs for if you want to buy some more binded copies as well. Copyright fee, open access publishing fees are there as well. Those are optional, and Miss Alexa will go over those soon. So here are the anticipated costs for the binding, depending on what you choose, either a soft cover or hardcover, and how many copies you choose to purchase.
Okay, so as Amanda mentioned, there are 2 additional fees, one for copyright and one for open access, and these are both optional and they are ultimately up to you. So first I'm going to talk about copyright. The question is, should you pay it? And again, it's an option and it is personal preference. I like to think of the copyright fee as kind of copyright insurance, because if your copyrighted work, so your thesis or your dissertation, if your copyright is infringed upon, if somebody uses your work in ways that your copyright says that they are not allowed to, if you do want to sue them for that, that can be very expensive. And so the $55 is basically an insurance policy to cover you so that if you do sue for statutory damages and attorney fees, my dog just loves to chime in when I'm talking, I'm so sorry, then you will not be responsible for that. So pay $55 now, and then you won't have to pay anywhere from $750 to over $100,000 later. The likelihood that you sue someone for infringing on your copyright, it doesn't happen all that often, but if you do, just want to be safe, that $55 is there. And if you have questions about that, let me know. Open access, the Open Access Plus is, again, an optional fee. The benefit of paying the open access fee is that it ensures the widest possible exposure of your work. So if you pay it, then people who find your work through the ProQuest dissertation database, dissertations and theses database, even if they don't have a subscription to it. So if you're, associated with the university, you have a subscription to that database so you can get full text access. But not everyone does. So not everyone would be able to read your entire work without having to go through like interlibrary loan or finding an institution that has that database. However, the caveat with that is that we also do put a version of your work into our TAMUCC repository. So you may choose to put an embargo on it if you are publishing either part of your thesis or dissertation or as a whole with another publisher. But eventually your work will be fully open access through the TAMUCC repository. So it will be, if somebody discovers it through Google Scholar, they can then come to the TAMUCC repository and download the full copy. So again, people might not know that they have other ways to find that open access copy. So paying that fee in the ProQuest Open Access Plus might be beneficial. but you're not preventing your work from being open by not paying that fee, because you are going to have your work available in the repository. Again, if you have questions, please let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexa. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about getting to the submission process. You submit, you've decided if you want copyright, maybe you've filled out a variety of different forms, but what happens after you've done all of that? So basically, after you hit submit on ProQuest, a lot of people in the College of Graduate Studies and in the library get a ping. So Alexa Hyde has submitted a dissertation. And so what we do is we go in and I will complete a first initial review. And what that means is I'm kind of scrolling through your document, I'm making notes and adding them to kind of this file that we have, and I send you a first round of revisions. Okay, those revisions could be something as simple as like maybe you missed a page number here or something falls out of the margin over here. So we do a first initial review. Then your document, after you submit, so you'll go back into ProQuest, you'll complete those revisions and you'll submit a new document. I will then open up your document again, ensure that you've completed those revisions. And if you have, then you'll get sent on to a secondary review person in our office. That person will review your document and let me know if there are any additional revisions that need to be made. If there are, then I'll send those revisions to you, and we kind of do this back and forth until your document is perfect. Again, our idea is not to bother you with all these minuscule things that need to get fixed. We really want to make sure it looks perfect before it gets sent off, okay? After you've done all the revisions on your document, it's good to go, you get the green light from us. Amanda will verify that all your checklist items are good to go. And basically what that means is we'll do one final review of your document. We'll ensure that all your checklist items are there. And you will get at the very end a notification in ProQuest that your document has been accepted. Basically what that means is that you've gotten the green light, and then basically the next step after that is that we'll deliver all of the dissertation and thesis in the system to ProQuest for publication. So it can kind of be a long process. Sometimes it might be a little frustrating, like maybe I send it back and I'm like, hey, on page 42, there's an extra space after this paragraph. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking for. And so if you send one round of revisions back and you get another, that's common. That happens to a lot of students. That just means that multiple people are looking at your document. So I'm not the only person doing revisions. Amanda's not the only person looking. We're all, it's kind of a group effort in our office to make sure that nobody misses anything and that it looks great before it gets sent off. Are there questions about this process? No. Okay, so like I mentioned previously, any revision that I give a student, everything comes from the ProQuest system. I hardly ever go through an email and send you, hey, on page 42, XYZ. Everything will get sent through ProQuest first. If I feel like maybe you need a deeper explanation, I'll say, hey, I just sent you some revisions on ProQuest, and I'll send some screenshots maybe in an email so you know what I'm talking about. But then anything that gets resubmitted will go through ProQuest. Okay, and if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer what that process might look like. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to have access to this PowerPoint presentation. So these are just some helpful links to the catalog, handbooks, important dates that Amanda discussed, the templates, all of these really fun things. Amanda, did you have anything that you wanted to say about this slide, or just kind of like utilize the website?
No, definitely. I'd say check out any of the, always check out the important dates, put them on your calendar. Any questions about forms, I'm here to answer them. And just reach out for questions is the big thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely a resource. We're not just here to tell you, hey, Form A is due on this day. If you have genuine questions, we're here to help. We want to make sure that you get all those things turned in on time, because that ensures that you graduate on time, and that you graduate, when you thought you might. So definitely reach out. Don't wait till the last minute, and let us know how we can be helpful kind of towards the end of this long process that you've been through. So something I wanted to touch base on, we just started doing dissertation and thesis consultations. So basically, I will be set up in Grow in the library on these days from 4 to 6 p.m. And so students can either bring their laptop with their thesis or dissertation, or you can bring a flash drive with your thesis or dissertation on it. And what I do is I sit down with you and I kind of go over formatting with you. So maybe you have a really complete document, but you're not sure if it looks okay, things like that. That's what I'm here for. And I'm also there to just answer questions about formatting. Even if you want to come in and start your ProQuest, login information, we can do that too. Really, I'm just there to be a resource to you to make sure that things look good before you hit submit the very first time. So definitely, if you're able to come to campus and you want to come check it out, those are the dates I have. And this slide, it will also link you to the website where you can see this. But if you can't make it to Grow, or you can't make it to campus, or you can't make it on one of these days, I also am happy to meet with you on any other available days, and I can meet with you virtually. So maybe you're not located here in Corpus Christi, but you want to meet via Zoom. That's totally fine with me. In a second, I'll give you my contact information, and we can set up virtual consultations as well. Okay, so like Amanda and Alexa have mentioned, we're a resource. Okay, so we're not just the people that tell you what to turn in and how and when it should be turned in. We're definitely here to answer any and all questions that you might have. And if we don't have the answer to your question, we're pretty good at hoping we can find the answer for you or pointing you in the right direction. So the College of Graduate Studies, we're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you've ever visited Grow, we're open whenever the library is open. Okay, and Alexa in the library, they have some amazing resources. Alexa is great, along with a lot of her colleagues. They're there to assist you as well. I've put my contact information here, my phone number and my email. So if you have questions about thesis and dissertation, maybe anything that we've covered today, and you're not sure who to ask, you can definitely shoot me an email or call me, and I'll help you out with either answering your question or finding somebody that can. So definitely don't wait till the last minute and let us know how we can help you through the crazy process that you've already kind of been through, and you're at the very tail end. We want to make sure that you get through smoothly. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for listening to us talk. Does anybody have any questions? Questions, comments, concerns about anything? No?